Welcome to my cactus live stream, Cactus Care. We are sowing out. I have a lot of seeds here. Today, I had promised that we would be sowing out, and I brought soil. So this is the first sowing soil that I bought. It's finally here. I just took a little bit out of the bag and closed it up again clinically. I don't want to have anything coming in. And if we will get problems with this one too, we will just pasteurize the soil in the future. That would be boring. Would mean more time and effort. But I consider it, okay? So in the future, we'll see what we will do, but I brought sowing soil. I looked into the bag and the description of the content on the bag, and it said that it contains expanded clay or some sort of a clay mixed in, and also perlite in order to have a better drainage. Apart from that, check it out. Very organic kind of soil. I really like it. This will be great for sowing out cactus seeds, and that's what I want to do today. I brought few containers here. We don't have a lot. I assume we maybe have another 10, 15, and then I need to buy new ones. But yeah, it will happen eventually. Just right now, tough time and all. So I just always, when I buy something, I need to earn money first again before I can buy something new. And that will be the next thing that we will buy. But apart from that, new sowing soil that we will use to sow out cactus seeds on the channel. I brought a whole bag, like a whole box. Check this out. This tin can, and it's full of seeds from the current season, full of cactus seeds that we can choose from to sow out. Very good ones, nice flowers, best of the best and all that stuff. So we will start sowing out with that eventually. Later today, I need to be a little bit careful that the fungus gnats don't jump into the medium right away. But for now, we have maybe half an hour, and we will start sowing out very soon. So yeah, thank you for joining my live stream. I just wanted to say that the live stream's getting successful, and I appreciate it. Yesterday, I had seen that another post on Instagram went very viral. This morning it was like 6.5 million, and that is huge. But it's not the first time. It just keeps happening. There's a great community behind the page, and every time I post something, they just like and share, and yeah, it eventually leads to a big reach that we had just in the last 2 or 3 days. And I'm proud of that. I wanted to say that. I always had kind of, issues being happy, being proud of what I did. I used to do a lot of good stuff, and then I wasn't happy eventually. And yeah, in the last days, I just realized I did good. I built something. Everything is going nicely. Bad health, but everything else is going great. I mean, apart from my broken marriage, but yeah. So, but again, I'm just proud of myself right now. Last year I really did what I could to make the page grow, to succeed, and that wasn't always the case in my life. I always had these moments when I felt like I could have reached more if I actually applied myself. And this time I'm actually proud and happy and feel like I did everything I could. So yeah, I'm very happy about that, having gone viral again. It's not something that pays the bills, but at least it shows that how many supporters are behind the page, behind the channel. So many people that watch my stuff, and I appreciate it. I'm very proud that I can do this. Very proud that I can, share my passion with you all. So yeah, thank you guys. Okay, yeah, I brought seeds to clean again, cactus seeds. I brought containers. I brought plants from outside the greenhouse. There's everything today. So let's just have a look at a bunch of plants that I brought from the greenhouse first. I want to put something below that it doesn't get so dirty. Okay, so here's a plant that I brought from the greenhouse because I saw it had frost damage and I wanted to show you. Check it out. So this black-greenish discoloration, I took it out of the pot and pressed against the tip, and the skin was completely weak, completely mushy. So it became clear that this plant did not make it through the cold. I had forgotten it a little bit too close to the door, and that was apparently enough, unfortunately. But I wanted to show you when a plant has a frost damage, it just changes the color a little bit to darkish green, dirty, grayish green, blackish green. And yeah, that's usually a sign that there's tissue damage and that the plant is probably lost. Okay. Then I brought these. This is a Zelly hybrid, Zelly cross. And I really wanted to just clean it up a little bit. Remove the grass here. It's potted in pumice, and I want to leave it like this. Because right now in winter, it's not really... There are not a lot of alternatives. But I wanted to take out this seedling here. This one's not good. And the whole cross had problems with discolorations that I wanted to show you. Check it out. Almost lost them in spring. Sometimes you just forget about a bunch of seedlings and they are at the worst spot possible. And that's what happened with these. Then I repotted them into the pumice. And now they are doing better. I'm happy when I can get one or two of these to flowering. And right now it's okay. These have all skin discolorations. This is a fungal infection and probably also related to to mealybug. You just have, when you have mealybug in the greenhouse, they constantly cause these micro injuries. They constantly bite little pieces out of the plant, and that will eventually lead to a lot of scar tissue, like here, but also infections, because the constant tiny micro injuries that they cause will eventually just be too much. Hey, welcome to the stream. Yeah, very often you have mold and fungal infections in winter, high humidity in the greenhouses, so you always have to be aware. This can happen at any time, so you need to keep an eye on it. The infection already started before that, probably because they just didn't have enough soil in the old pot. Now that I repotted it, they are starting to recover. That one seedling here didn't make it, but I'm pretty confident that I can get one or two to a point where I can take a cutting, graft, and then I have at least the plant saved. But yeah, these are not looking good, and they will be sprayed against mealybug also. Just because I don't see them right now. I wanted to look into this. I wanted to see if I can see mealybug, but they are not visible right now. It doesn't mean they aren't there, but I will definitely spray them just to be safe. Hey, welcome to the stream. Great to have you around. A lot of stuff to do today. I brought so many different things, and I'm not sure if we can get to everything. So yeah, apart from that, I will leave them like this, and I will keep them indoors. I want them out of the humidity. This will go into like where I can control the humidity a little bit. I have the temperature at something around 10 degree, 5 to 10 degree. It's not so warm, so they don't wake up. They don't start to grow. But it's not so humid like it is in the greenhouse. When you put something like this in the greenhouse, they can make it. They can eventually overcome a fungal infection, also in high humidity. But it's just a numbers game, and the more you have, the more likely it will be that you just lose them. So yeah, these will stay indoors, but not too warm. If you put them too warm, you will need to water them. You will need to fertilize them. They need light. And I don't have that kind of a grow space indoors. So these will just, I will try to let them hibernate, but not in humidity. Okay. So let me see what's next. Oh yeah, you get this. I have a bunch of big, like a big container full of seedlings, and they are very spiny. Check it out. I saw these in the greenhouse, and when I see like jungle, then I usually try to become involved. I could have left it. They don't look too bad. They are too crowded. Check it out. This is too many seedlings in one pot. So I will probably transplant them next year. I don't want to do it right now because they're growing nicely. It's okay, never change something that you don't have to change, because once I repot them, they will need a little bit more time, and more time than I can give them in winter. Hey, great to have you guys around. These are very spiny. I will never get used to it. You look at a pot like this, and you just feel like this is going to hurt. This is going to be uncomfortable. But I need to just take out the grass a little bit. I just want to improve the drainage a little bit. And I try to not unroot them, uproot everything here. Because I don't want to have to repot them now. And if I pull too hard, I might actually pull out the roots with it. And also the cactus roots, not only the grass roots. So I try to just clean it up a little bit. I wanted to have a closer look. Wanted to see the weeds that are everywhere here. The more weeds you have in winter, the more likely it is that one infection happens below the area where you don't see. They take away light. They keep in the humidity. The fact that this had such healthy grass in the greenhouse should tell you that it's trapping humidity. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like that. It wouldn't grow so healthily. So yeah, I removed that a little. The roots are still there, so the problem isn't really solved. Ideally, you would take everything out, but right now, in winter, I'm already happy that they get light again from all sides. And this doesn't look too bad. It's okay. Okay, next. And I need to bring these outside because this is bad. I don't want to have Mika or Kami touch that thing. It's really a big spiny plant. Okay. So let's see what we will do. Let's sow out first, okay? Because I have a bunch of containers. I brought soil and I don't want to have it lying around for too long. But first, trying to remove everything that has to do with this one, with the containers from outside. I don't want to bring in mealybugs, stuff like that. I'm always very careful when it's about bringing something indoors. Okay, and this is sowing soil, classic sowing soil. You can get that in every garden store. And it's just a good soil to sow out. That's why it's called sowing soil. You know, sometimes you feel like reinventing the wheel, but in my opinion, I had the best results with sowing soil. Long term, it's important to repot, but in the first 6 months, let's say 6 months, sowing soil is really a good medium. It's a safe medium where you reduce the problems. A more complex medium, a mineral medium later on, that is something for when you really know what you need to add to make it work. Not every mineral, you can't just buy one bag of a mineral and use that. So you either have to buy a already mixed kind of soil that has the right drainage, but also the right ability to store water. And that's usually something that you get a feeling for later on. And in the beginning, it's safer to reduce the potential pitfalls, things that can go wrong. And in this case, sowing soil, it is very forgiving. Okay, let me just, I want a few more containers here because I have a little bit too much soil than I wanted. Right now, the soil, this is just sowing soil, and I will use it exactly as it is from the bag, not adding anything. In the beginning, cactus seedlings don't really need a lot, and then you start fertilizing them, you start watering them. So the soil itself, it matters in the way that it needs the right humidity to induce germination. For one, that is a big part. Later on, I try to transplant into pumice, into a fast draining mix. But in the very first 6 months, I really think that humidity matters a lot for the tiny seedlings to grow fast. So sowing soil is okay. A good grower, a good cactus grower can work with every medium. They just need to know how to treat it, how to do the water management, how much water they need on a regular basis. And if you have a more organic medium, it takes a little longer. That's all. You can make it work with an organic medium. You just have to have the right temperature, that there are no problems. You know, the organic medium usually becomes a problem later on in winter, when you have drip water dripping on the seedlings, or when you have any kind of problem that happens in winter. You know, indoors you can control it. Indoors you can just decide not to water them for another week if necessary. And again, young seedlings, they actually like a fair amount of humidity. So sometimes it's better if you are unsure how much water they will need. Sometimes it's better to have them a little bit more humid. And also that there are exceptions to everything. But you would probably, as a beginner, also have a higher chance of success using something like sowing soil. When you put something in a mineral medium, the moment you take it out, it needs so much water. And if you are not aware of that and don't water all the time, they will start getting smaller and smaller. And then they go into the new season. Like, let's say you bring them out in May, and then it's getting hot. Then you already have a dehydrated plant that is going into the summer, like tiny seedlings going into a hot summer. So it's good to start the season giving them a little bit more water. Okay, I put them into these little square pots here. And I want to have a look at the seeds that we can sow out now. I've cleaned a lot in the last couple of weeks. And kept saying that I want to sow out certain things, but then I always forget. So I will go through everything now, and we will pick something for sowing out. This is now 6 containers. That's enough. I don't want to do too much today. What's my favorite plant is the question. Favorite plant? That's a hard question. I'm not sure. Like with cacti, I like pink stripes. Pink stripes is a great hybrid. I like that Pseudolobivia hybrid that I have shown on the channel earlier, like that AKS 2015 hybrid there with the glowing kind of flowers. But it's not the only one. I like all kinds of plants, you know, like just interesting trees. I don't really have a plant where I say this is my 100% favorite plant. If I would have to pick, it would be something like pink stripes, because pink stripes is so impressive. Flying saucer is so impressive. You know, these kind of amazing hybrids, when you see them in front of you, they will blow you away. You can see them on the photo, but it's an entirely different thing when you finally see a flower in front of you. It just pulls you in. So yeah, but apart from that, I wouldn't. There's so many good ones, you know, and all in their very own way. It's kind of hard. Okay, what was this? Something with BIMs. Yeah, I'm out of BIMs keys was a comment. What do I plant seeds in? Like I said, I recommend classic sowing soil. Don't get something that is too organic, that takes too long to dry. You will notice when you look at this kind of seed here, it is very fine. It isn't one mass. It is loose. You can touch it. It moves. And that is a big thing when you're sowing out. You don't want to have a soil when you touch it. It's like one big thing. The little seedlings need to be able to grow into the soil, dig their little roots in. So yeah, I would just get a sowing soil. And if I don't have that, you can also sow out in other stuff, you know. In the last couple months, we've sown out in cemetery soil. Very organic, kind of black soil. It worked. We had problems with fungus gnats like crazy. But apart from that, it worked. You can sow out in Ceramis, in that kind of expanded clay material, like liquid culture kind of thing, liquid media, where you whatever you can get, it should work out. But the humidity on the soil needs to be enough, you know. Not every mineral is equally good at inducing germination. So that is what I would keep in mind, keep an eye on. Some minerals, they just dry so fast that the seed on the soil cannot really, I don't know, get started. The soil dries so fast that there is never enough humidity for the seeds to come up. That is something that you need to keep in mind. Whatever you get, make sure it can store water. Because if, for example, if you are sowing out in just sandstone, any kind of sand material, and there are different forms of sand, but a lot of them have in common that it's a crystal, and everything dries so fast that you will never generate the necessary humidity to induce germination. That is something that another reason why I like sowing soil. It stays wet, but when it dries out, it doesn't really compact. It does not turn into a big mess. You can still use it. You can still move it. You can still get it off the seedlings if you need to. Okay. I'm a little bit unsure what to sow out because there are so many good ones. I have a lot of Otto Schultz. That is an Acacia hybrid that I recently where I recently harvested and cleaned seeds. Here's Teleflora. Teleflora is always good. I want to sow out Teleflora stuff. This is Flying Dragon. So let me have a look at the box that I brought. Big tin can full of seeds. So, and in this case, yeah, this is the harvest so far from last year, from the current season, from the 2025 season. All different kinds of cactus seeds. And really good ones. And I will try to find something that we will sow out now. So let me just go through. Here's a Feathers hybrid. I will put that aside. Ruffled flowers because it's very good. This is Gräsers Erfolg Selbstbestäubung and Cantora. Also very, very good. Here's a Hilde Winterer hybrid that I want to sow out. Okay. Here's Isla del Sol, Imperialis. This is some good stuff. That's what we would sow out. This is already enough, I think. We only have 6 containers. 1, 2, 3. I need another one. One more. And then it's already full, you know? It goes so fast. And you are out of space again. Flying Dragon. Glauca. Oh yes, this here. This is Echinopsis glauca. I want to sow these out. But this is a hybrid cross with a white flowering father, so the potential for good flower color isn't there. I'm not sure if I'm not pushing this a little bit back. I think I will. Okay, I found another one here, 20 centimeter orange, big flower. The plant from the time-lapse video that I did, that had the song Me and the Devil. Really nice time-lapse video, was really nice. Blew me away. And I want to sow out the offspring. Okay, first one. Imperialis, that was a great hybrid. I need to sow these out. These are very good. Have a huge flower. And I don't have a backup plant. So if something happens to that original plant, then that's it. So I really try to grow something from seeds now. If you wait too long, the seeds can become unviable. So it's good to sow out the important ones right away, because you never know which ones will lose the viability. Most of them will not lose it so fast, so it's just a safety measure. Okay, maybe 50 seeds here, and I don't think a lot of them, like there's some where I feel like they might not come up. But I want to give them a chance. And this will go into this container now. Seeds sprinkled on top of the soil, not covering it. Cactus seeds need light to germinate. Very important. Okay, I need a label. And I write it with pencil because pencil is the best. And Imperialis. And this is the big one. I have multiple Imperialis, and this is the best one. Really good hybrid. I really want to, for the future, I want to work more targeted. I want to, when I sow out, you know, in the past, I tried to sow out everything, treating them equally. Not having any kind of seedlings that I prefer, that get better spots than others. And it eventually led to me losing touch with a lot of good crosses that I would have, if I had kept them in my view all the time. I would have probably got more of them to flower. So yeah, I want to keep a closer eye on the seedling. So official can of the channel, it is total trash, but it belongs to us. One of us, leaky water can. So now I'm putting in a little bit of water, but not too much. Always good to wait a little, because the water will eventually run through, and then you have a big pond at the bottom of the pot, and that is not good. You want the soil to stay somewhat humid but not wet. The roots need to be able to take in oxygen, and when the soil is too wet, that can't happen. Right now you can see the soil is wet, but there's nothing running out at the bottom. That is how I want it. If there's water pooling at the bottom, that's not good, because you will fail to have the right humidity. So yeah, this is closed. This will be closed now, and this will go to the heater, trying to guarantee a temperature of maybe 29 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure if it will work, but we'll see. I'm currently no longer running the wood oven that I had on in the beginning, and the wood oven really helped to have a solid, stable heat that brought them out, that brought us so many seedlings that you now see in front of us here, like the bags of seedlings that I'm opening on a daily basis. With central heating, it's a little bit harder, but I'm sure we can at some point get the right temperature there too. Okay, so this is a hybrid cross between a columnar and a colorful father. Trying to get a good flower here. And before I'm sowing out, I'm always cleaning the seeds. I really, when I put seeds into the soil, you need to keep in mind that usually when you have contamination in a container, it usually comes from the seeds. Of course, it can happen that the soil is just contaminated. Fungus gnats, we had that. But very often, most of the pathogens come in with the seeds, because you can't disinfect them, you can't heat them. The soil is often heat treated, but with seeds you cannot do that. You can't put them into, I don't know, like, you can't get it sterile. As a 100% sterile medium, it takes so much work. And then when you have that, let's say you spend 2.5 hours putting that into a pressure cooker, and in order to get it somewhat sterile, and then you would still have to put the seeds in, and the seeds have stuff like sugar, a little bit of pulp remnants, that kind of stuff. You're instantly throwing the sterility away anyway. So for me, it was never really a thing to work sterile. It can make a huge difference if whatever medium you use is bad, but normally it should work without. You should be able to just by working clean with clean stuff, clean soil, fresh soil, right humidity, constantly opening them to check, then you should already be pretty well set. Yes, I do. I every now and then, the hybrids that I'm growing are multi-hybrids by now. But I like the columnar hybrids because the flowers are so big. So I make a lot of crosses with that. And when I say columnar, I usually mean something like Trichocereus, something like that, something that all these hybrids with these big white flowers, very useful for hybrid breeding, because if you get a nice color into the flower, the size is already there. only thing you need to do is just try to improve the flower. And a columnar cactus, it's just a cool plant. I like them. For me, it's just a perfect kind of cactus. A columnar cactus, you know. And no, it doesn't really matter which one you use, because a lot of them just have great genetics when it's about flower size. And that is one of the main criteria that I use for breeding. I just try to have something that has a columnar body and a nice flower, the best of both worlds. So yeah, but a lot of the hybrids that I grow, they are multi-hybrids at that point, where people have grown 10, 20 generations with them, maybe. I don't know, really a lot of work. There are breeders that have been working with their plants for 35 years, something like that. And at that point, you no longer have that one plant. There are usually 5, 6 different parents involved in the family tree. Okay. So yeah, I brought some seeds onto the soil here. Maybe a little too many now that I'm seeing it. But once you have the seeds on the soil, it's too late. You could try to carefully take them out again. But the moment you start there, you are at risk of burying the seeds, and they need light. So I would just leave it the way it is now. Hybrid cross from 2025. And this was, where is it now? I think it was this one. Okay. And this will go into the bag now. Little bit of water, and then we're ready. Okay. So yeah, I want to talk about yesterday. I made a huge post again about my, like that post that went viral on Instagram. It's not something that I usually celebrate, but I really started to be proud of who I've become in the last year, maybe last 2 years. And yeah, it's nice to see that so many people boost the channel. So many people just like the channel and want to help, or they just like the posts. Make me very happy yesterday. And like I said, this morning it was at 6.6 million. That's a lot of people that see my stuff. Okay, next one. This is a feathers hybrid, one of those multi-hybrids with the feathery kind of flower, feathery petals, and they are pretty good. I like them, but in this case, I'm not sure. This cross here doesn't look like it's genetically healthy. Very small seeds. If we get 1 or 2 seedlings from these, that's enough. That's already rich. Trying to just sort out a little bit more, because I don't think that all of these will be viable. Quite unlikely. So I take out a bunch of the seeds that are the flattest, really the ones where I feel like these will probably not come up. But that's it. If we, in this container here, like if I had to just guess about the number of seeds that are viable here, maybe 10 at the most. If we get 5 seedlings, that would be fantastic. Okay, closing it up. And this one might actually, this could even be a total loss. There might not be any germinations coming up in this one. It's just something that, when you can already see that a cross has poor genetic health, then that's not a good sign. I usually try to sow out right away then, when I see it. So, feathers 2025. hybrid by Uwe Kahle from the cross G15 Supergelb, Herzdame, and Dagati, I think, or something. One might be missing in the family tree, but it's something like that. And the feathery flower, the ragged kind of petal shape, it comes from a hybrid called Supergelb in the family tree. Supergelb is one of the parents of Super Apricot. Super Apricot being one of the most famous hybrids. It has also ragged flowers. Supergelb itself does not have ragged flowers, but the fact that it passes it down, that gene, that should tell you that where the mutation came from, that petal mutation, Supergelb, and like Super Apricot is Supergelb crossed with the Echinopsis hybrid called Apricot, I think. That is the parentage of Supergelb. No, Super Apricot. Supergelb is, I think, is a hybrid with an Aporo candicans and Sörensia fateri. Something like that. It's all old school hybrids, not really genetically superbly healthy. Let's call it that. But it's okay. I don't have high expectations, you know. Life's tough already. We'll see how it goes. And these are seeds of that Imperialis hybrid that I've mentioned earlier. I've sown out one of those already, and I want to do a second one just because these are great. These will be great, and I need plants. I need offspring from it before something happens with the main plant. It's a cold sensitive kind of plant, and I can see that it would just happen that it doesn't come through the winter one day. Probably not. But before that happens, I really want to try getting some seedlings from it. Last year, I tried to propagate it. I took a cutting, and that cutting will probably make it. But it's still all very, very risky. If you have a plant that in general doesn't like the cold, then you can in 1 year lose 2 different plants that are at 2 different places in the greenhouse. With rare stuff, I usually try to split it up. I really try to have one plant in this setting and another one in another setting to make sure that if winter really gets bad for them, there's no total loss. Okay. Label. Always written with pencil. I also write, like, sometimes I write with a text marker, but for the labels, it's just bad. So many fertilizers or pesticides that dissolve the label. So good to write with classic, old school kind of things. Okay. Little bit water. And then I will do probably a Hilde hybrid. Hilde is also something that's a little bit genetically troubled. So I try my best to sow them out fast. If they make it on their own roots, then that's a good thing. Hey mate, great that you're back. Check it out. You haven't really missed anything. I'm just sowing out. So these will go under near the heat source now. Trying to get them to 29 degrees, maybe 30. In the beginning, it isn't really so important that the heat is excessively high. But in my opinion, it helps in the beginning to have higher temperatures. And that can even be 32, 33. Once you have the seedlings, you need to be careful, but in the beginning, a little bit of heat will just wake them up faster. Okay. So this is the Hilde Winterer hybrid, and the seeds are tiny. I'm not sure if these are viable. I have my doubts, but I want to give it a try. And these are very small seeds. Hilde Winterer, also sometimes Sörensia can have very small seeds. And the smaller they are, the less likely it is that they will remain viable for very long. It's just something, you can have seeds that have a great viability that are small, but in my experience, very often they lose viability the fastest compared to all the others. Okay. Always trying to not put in too much water, because it's so hard to take it out again. And again, this is it's leaking everywhere. This is one of the worst water cans ever built, but it fits to the channel. Okay, so this was Hilde Winterer Aurei Spina hybrid. Let's see how this will go. Okay, one more. Last one for now. We'll continue again sowing out tomorrow. So I have Teleflora here. I have that 20 centimeter orange kind of hybrid. I think I will sow out that one. Definitely has a lot of potential. I mean, just looking at the flower size, that thing is crazy. The mother. And I almost certainly also used a decent fodder to improve the flower. I think it was something like pink stripes, trying to get in color. So that could be great. Hey, thank you. This is one of those super ugly European fleece jackets that are, that came out in the 80s or the 90s. In that time, people just liked it, very colorful, and I really like that. It has become difficult to get this kind of stuff today, just because people, it just looks so classic to the 80s and 90s. And I'm always happy when I find something like that. Okay. So this is also watered now. No little lake at the bottom. And that's great. The remaining seeds I will put back into the big tin box, and I will bring it out again later. We will just continuously try to pick something for sowing out. For the rest of the year, I will mostly sow out my own crosses. I have sown out a lot by Uwe Kahle and that kind of stuff. So now it's time to sow out more of my own hybrids. Thank you. I just like color. I always try to, and I collect vintage clothes. I'm always keeping an eye out to get something for very cheap, like thrift stores, that kind of stuff, I have just noticed that the vintage clothes market it's totally out of control. It has become very difficult to get vintage clothes, just because so many people, so many resellers are pushing up the prices. So I always had to invest a lot of time to be able to afford that kind of stuff. So I don't know, I have a lot of vintage stuff. I just like that kind of thing. Okay, so it's not that I'm liking fashion. It's like that I specifically like old kind of stuff, like 90s wear. That was just a very unique time. And if you look at the old tracksuits today, the old windbreakers, that stuff's just very funny today. And in an interesting way, I like it. That's why I like it, you know. Okay, so what was this here? The last one that I've sewn out. What was it? Hilde Winterer? Was it the Hilde Winterer? Or was it the Feathers hybrid? Let me see. Oh no, I know what it is. I think. Let me see. Okay, so this is the columnar one. Just trying to recreate what kind of a plant I had. Kind of a seed bag I had. Hilde Winterer, maybe? Imperialis. I'm sure I can backtrace my steps to find out what it was. This is Feathers. Okay, so that one we do have. What's this? Imperialis. Then it's the orange 20 centimeter flower, probably. This is the Hilde Winterer. Yeah, okay. So, all right, so this goes to the heat source, and now I will go through the other containers that I have. Here's a little bit more sowing soil. Maybe let me just get that out of this thing so I can use it again. It's not a lot more, maybe for 1 or 2 at the most. Okay, let's do 1 so we can get rid of that soil. It's just too much soil. I don't want to waste it because everything we buy is expensive. But yeah. Yes, I know Cactus Ulich. They are great, a great nursery, great store. I'm friends with Cactus Hage. They have been very helpful and in just helping me to do my books. Cactus Hage has always been a supporter of the channel and of the stuff that I do. So yeah, I know them, and they are friends with Cactus Ulich. So every now and then I hear something. A few times I bought plants from them, and it's a great store. Super reliable. Everything with paperwork and all that. So yeah, they are great from what I can tell. I haven't really dealt with them in a while, but I haven't heard anything bad about them. Great people from what I heard. So yeah. So let me see. And you can also often find good stuff at Cactus Hage. They also have, like, they have a sales house, and every now and then they put some very good stuff in there. Some of the hybrids in my books have been coming from Cactus Hage. So let me see. Yeah, in Cactus Ulich, they used to have a lot of the Karel Kniese seeds in the past. So I had been talking with them about that, but it was relatively early on when I got started. Okay, I just tried to find one more bag to sow out, something that we can use here. at some point you're just completely overwhelmed by all the seedlings that you have, you know, by all the seeds that you have. Often important to know which ones are the good ones that pass down good genetics, you know. You will never be able to grow every cross, so it really helps to know your plants. Okay, so this is a hybrid cross with Mamacita, Acacia, Echinopsis hybrid. And I see potential there. I want to make crosses with it, you know, a new kind of Acacia hybrid. There aren't that many. We have Otto Schultz and Mamacita and a few that are less popular. I've seen Chiemgau Cactus, Michael Kiesling. He has been breeding with Acacia hybrids, and I've seen a bunch from him. But there's still potential. It's still a field where you can maybe get a fantastic hybrid like Mamacita, something like that. Mamacita has a beautiful flower, and interesting kind of hybrid. Okay. Bring back the leaky can. Just a little bit more. Always a great feeling to sow out. You always did something, you know, you invested into the future. I always like sowing out. Okay. But now everything is dirty here. Table looks like a mess. So I first have to clean this up a little. And then we will open up the containers. The old ones from sowing out before. What a mess. I don't know why I can't work clean. It's just something that is part of me. When I work somewhere, it's like a little animal has been living there. Okay. This is better. So much stuff today. Okay. Oh, I forgot this one. Here's something where I had prepared another one of these pressed soil things here for sowing out vegetables. I had looked at the seeds, tried to find something that I liked, but I really need to invest more time to look into all the plants where I have seeds of. Have to Google them to see if it's something that is interesting. I want to grow more fruit trees and that stuff. So we'll need a little bit more time to prepare and to read about the stuff that we might be sowing out. I don't want to bring stuff onto the channel without having made like preparations. Okay. Yeah, a lot of chili do I have here. I will try to sow out a bunch more from these mystery seeds that I have here. These could be just some sort of a local chili that I bought. And I don't want to waste the soil right now. So I would sow those out now. Okay. And I will put 2 seeds in because these are very old. I don't expect them to come up. So I'm increasing the likelihood a little bit. Increasing the chance. If just one of them comes up, that's okay. Yeah, I'm out of space too. Since I'm doing this for the channel, it's really starting to become very space intensive indoors. In the past, I never really had a lot of cacti in the house, apart from sowing out. And since I'm doing the stream, since I'm bringing plants in from outside, from the greenhouses, there's stuff everywhere. Okay. Tomorrow I would check if we maybe have the first seedlings on the chili that I've sown out. For now, it doesn't seem like that. It's a little bit too early. The germination time that they mentioned, it was up to 20 days or something like that, so really long. Okay, let's see. Oh, by the way, I also brought the seedlings that I took out of the bag. I took them out to let the soil dry out, and I have them here so we can look at them to see how that changed the whole thing. Hey, Robert, welcome to the stream. Great to have you around. So check this out. New seedlings. I've been sowing out a little bit, but also the older ones, going through them again. And these are great. I think we really got rid of the fungus gnats. Unfortunately, I will not be able to long-term continuously say welcome to the fungus gnat channel. And it was so fun while it lasted. Okay. I'm just glad that no fungus gnat came out of it right now. Looking good, right? These are among the oldest, maybe 2 months old now, 1.5, 2 months. These are some of the seedlings that we grew on the channel. Lobivia winteriana seedlings. Yeah, I mean, I believe it's important in life to be able to laugh at your own mistakes. I really believe that is something that shows the difference in character. Life is, we all go through life sometimes just, trying to keep it together. And every now and then you just have to have a laugh at your own expense. I really think it's a good sign when people do that. Because everyone who takes themselves so seriously that they can't laugh when they have something that went wrong, that's not a good sign when people are so serious about that. So yeah, these are looking good also. But I had thrown a bunch over. The soil is so dry that it's easy to disturb them, to just you press against the side of the pot, and it instantly kind of the soil loosens because it's so dry. Might be good to give them a little bit more water, but for now they are just okay. I like them. So I close it up again. In general, all the seedlings that were drier, they did better. It's just, I keep saying it because it's true. Now I have dirt in the zipper, and that is so. Very often you notice that the thing is open suddenly, and that's how the fungus gnats get in. Okay, next one. I'm really happy with the seedlings right now. I always, in the past, I always grew stuff and it always went good. But right now we're doing what needs to be done. what you should actually do. We are on top of every problem. When there's a problem, we take care of it. So far, so good. I'm very happy. Seedlings look great. These are amazing genetics. No matter what it is, you can take seedlings out of every one of those containers and they have potential. So that is great. I'm happy about that. Got to celebrate when you can. Okay, and this is one of the ones that I took them out. And I took them out because there were problems with fungus gnats. And one of the things that you can do is let the soil dry out. Because the fungus gnats, they are tiny flies, but they propagate by laying their eggs onto the very wet, humid soil. So they need a certain soil humidity to just propagate, to continue the cycle of bothering me. And the drier the soil is, the less likely they will be able to do that. But now, I mean, they are out of the bag now. So you will have to start watering them. And today I already looked at everything, looked at them, wanted to spray them earlier. I haven't done it yet because I first wanted to have everything dry for maybe a week or two. But these need to be sprayed very fast once you take them out, because they are now they were used to a climate in the bag, high humidity, and suddenly that's no longer happening. So you need to continuously keep an eye on them, spray them. If you notice that they get smaller and smaller and smaller, then you need to water more. No matter how much water they get, if they get smaller and smaller, it's almost always dehydration. Too much water, they will start rotting at the roots. They will fall over. You will have these little, seedlings with brownish spots at the bottom. This soil here is super dry and already to a point where it becomes dangerous for the seedling. So these need to be sprayed today. I will spray these today, and I will do the same with the others. They are pretty dry now. I'm happy with just letting the soil dry out. They always tell you that, they always tell you to let the soil dry out. And that is good for that is easier to do for larger plants than for seedlings. Because the smaller seedlings, they just need humidity. But for now, they are taking it well. And I only took those out of the bags maybe a few days ago, maybe a week ago. So it remains to be seen how they will take it long term. For now, they are under the lamp, and you need to spray them. They get sunlight, so they need water, so they need nutrients, fertilizer, and I will try to use a organic fertilizer for the ones that I'm using that I have indoors. The moment you take them out of the bag, you need to start really giving them everything they need. So think wisely when you do it. I'm not saying don't do it, because very often there are good reasons to take them out of the bag in the beginning, like fungus gnats, like fungal infections. But it creates new problems. You need to know how to deal with that. Okay. These are very young, tiny seedlings, and one seedling that looks completely messed up on the side. I'm not sure if that one will make it, but the others look good. The others all look healthy. Born to be wild. Lobivia ferox seedlings. Hybrids between Lobivia ferox and another Lobivia. What's that other one? Like that, another popular one. Lobivia ferox crossed with Lobivia. I don't recall. But it's another good Lobivia. Great family tree of this hybrid. And all the offspring has potential. And welcome to everyone who found our stream. A lot of visitors today. You found yourself in the cactus stream, and I'm just going through the cactus seedlings that we grow in the last couple months. Growing everything from seeds here, cacti, but also a bunch of vegetables here and there. Okay, so now I don't even want to look at it. It bothers me. I hate what I see here. I hate it with every fiber of my being. That moss that you see there, it just keeps everything so wet. You can see it already starts growing over the seedlings. That is why I often warn about moss. Moss can be just okay. It will just grow beside the seedlings. But if you have the wrong species, that stuff will overgrow everything. And it will take away the nutrients. It is great to have something that keeps the roots dry, the roots humid in an environment that barely gets any water. But this here is different. This is a closed bag, and you can get too much humidity at the roots, and exactly those parts of the plant that are most sensitive to overwatering. So right now I would take out some of the moss. I just can't see it anymore. I don't want to have to do with it anymore. So I will take it out, and it will almost certainly come back. And that is okay. I just want to give the cactus seedlings a little advantage, a little time advantage. And this is a lot. This is a lot of moss for a tiny container like this. And again, the moss itself isn't the problem. The problem is that it encourages a climate where the little cacti are always have wet feet. And it's an interesting cross, by the way. Some of the seedlings look mutated. One seedling has the shape of a heart. Will be really interesting to grow these long term. And it's good that I removed the moss now. It's not a huge thing, but these are the little things that can make a difference. And I can already see that one of the seedling, I just found a seedling that wasn't even visible anymore. That seedling was so overgrown that you get an infection just under the surface of the moss, and then you have the start of a fungal infection in a container. And since the thing is closed, it's like putting mold in a takeaway container. It will just get worse. Okay, so I will close this up again. I seriously consider transplanting them or opening it up. We might also open it up very, very soon. Now's the time where I start taking seedlings out of the containers if I feel like I have to. It's not something that I do just like without really considering any other option. It's some sort of a last resort, but it will happen now. In the next couple of months, most of these will come out the bags. These are looking great, and you can see this is going to be very crowded. A lot of seedlings in that tiny pot, and yeah, it will take so much space to just grow all these seedlings. Okay, I'm just seeing a fungal infection. I'm not sure if I can show it to the camera if it becomes visible. Where was it? Okay, here. So here at this spot, there's a fungal infection. There's a seedling that kind of melted. And that now, for me, I see that as a sign to take them out. They're already big enough. Those seedlings look so big that I'm pretty sure they will be all right. They already have reached the size that is a little bit above everything, like, the most sensitive stage. They are already through that part. And I'm sure they can make it if I spray them regularly. I just have to do it. So yeah, these will come out now. I'm not seeing any benefit to keeping them in the bag because they are already starting to be taller than the pot, starting to grow, and at some point we would have to take them out anyway. Yeah, a lot of the seeds that I had here came from Uwe Kahle, and his viability is just great. I believe he just cleans them very well, and that carries on into the viability, into the germination rate. Yeah, but there were also some that had zero viability, Overall, most of the seeds came up. I think we planted maybe 100, 125, something like that, and maybe 30, 40 didn't come up, or had only one seedling, 2 seedlings, and it was usually older seeds. Yeah, Misplant is a great breeder. I always say that. I mean, we basically grew up in the community. Like, we've been around from the same time, so I know him very well, and I just know that he's one of the best breeders that are currently working, maybe the best ever to do it, so I always give respect, because a lot of these old school breeders, they will not be around forever. I've already had these kind of talks, like about the future, and I'm not sure how many years Misplant will continue to do it, but for every year that he does, it's a good year for the community. And I also say that knowing that he's not an easy guy. Neither am I, we have clashed over the last 25 years. Sometimes we have argued. Sometimes we've just tried to, push each other's buttons a little bit. But he's a good guy. He's a great breeder, one of the best to ever do it. And you can, in my opinion, if you just want quality seeds, it's a good source. It's an amazing source. And if I had more money right now, I would support him more. I would love to, buy seeds again the way I used to in the past. But right now it's just a little bit harder for me with the divorce and all. And Cactusjerk also a great source. I'm a big fan of Cactusjerk, like that Australian breeder. And if you look at the kind of crosses, it is a very advanced kind of hybrid breeding, what he's doing. Hybrid breeding with very unusual kind of hybrids, and also hybrid breeding with Sörensia, some of Joylene's hybrids, Sutherland's hybrids, and that stuff will become amazing long term. If you continuously breed into a certain direction and combine it with the right plants, you can get something unique, something perfect, So I'm sure that Cactusjerk, in the next years, we will see great stuff from him too. I think it's the last seed order that I did was something like from Cactusjerk, and that was maybe a couple of years ago, maybe longer, I'm not sure. But he's a great breeder also. And a lot of new ones are joining also the industry. I just recently realized that there's so many people that I no longer know, like where I no longer know who is behind the page. I see a page and I like it, so I You know, so I try to be supportive. I like posts here and there. And a lot of the people who are behind it, I don't even know anymore. It's just a lot of development there. Okay, yeah, these are looking great. Could take them out if necessary, but for now, I'm not seeing any problem. So I will close it up again. There's a little bit of moss in there. Who cares? You know, if it doesn't turn into the kind of moss that I've shown you earlier, that's okay. But there's a limit. I have a limit, and the moss from earlier has reached it. Okay, next one. Also, moss. I'm seeing moss. That it's something that keeps getting worse, I feel. It's between the seedlings also where I do not like it. Hey, hallo, willkommen zum Stream. Sometimes I'm speaking German. When I know that someone's German, then I'm changing the language. So yeah, there's a lot of moss there, and I don't really like it. But for now, I'm not sure if I want to do much. The seedlings still look healthy. They're at this point still overgrowing them, overgrowing the moss. For now, it's okay. I don't want to get too much involved there. The moment you start messing around, you can create new problems that you didn't even have before. So I will just leave it for now. Here's one. The whole container is already full. You can feel that there's barely any space left in this thing. Okay. Oh, I'm already thinking about repotting them. Check this out. This is obscene. This is too much. Who has sown these out? Who has sown out so many? What went on through that guy's head? But apart from that, looking great. Well done. It's way too many, but well done. And at this point, you can see it's almost at the end of the bag. So at some point, these will need to be brought out. Otherwise, they continue to push against the bag and eventually become infected. Okay, these are looking great. And this is an interesting kind of hybrid body. Almost variegated, if you look at the color. You know, it's definitely a different color than the others. Some look reddish. I kicked something. Some look red. Some look reddish. Some very spiny and some not. This could be a very interesting hybrid cross. And it's by Uwe Kahle. A hybrid called Fii. F-I-I. In German, it would probably be spelled Fee. Like if you would spell it with an E. But it's two I's. F-I-I. I don't know that hybrid. I'm not sure how it looks like, but the seedlings look very promising. So closing that up again. Next one. I really need to be careful. I have too many plants in the house right now. There's cacti everywhere. At some point, you're living among the cacti, and it's becoming a problem. I don't want to turn into a cactus savage. Okay, these here. I can't get to the label. It's too stuck. Okay, this is a Uwe Kala hybrid. I'm not sure which one. From 2023, but that's it. That's all I can tell you. Every now and then Kami is sleeping on them, yes. But I'm too weak. I just like her too much and she uses that. But I don't blame her, you know. Right now, outside, I was out with her earlier and we have tall snow, really uncomfortable kind of weather, so I understand that she seeks the warmth from the lamp, you know. But it would be better if she wouldn't sleep on the seedlings from time to time. Okay, so let me see what we have here. I will use this as a trash bag. Here's a seedling that didn't make it. I was transplanting seedlings into washed pumice, and for some of them it came too late. Here's a seedling that is completely missing the roots. Also, fungus gnat problem. Follow-up problem from fungus gnats. At the time when we transplanted them, it was already too late. And overall, this cross here might be total loss. I'm looking at the seedlings. This one has a brown spot. This one has a brown spot. Taking them out, this doesn't have any kind of potential. At some point, you just have to be honest with yourself. You know, you're always trying to be an optimist. And then you look at the seedling and it has that brown kind of gaping wound at the bottom. And then, you know, it makes no sense to keep them around. Eventually, the infection will spread. Okay, these are all very small. And I just had to transplant one seedling that was lying on the side. Probably just because it was too small. These are very small seedlings. Teleflora, from a Teleflora cross. And Teleflora, you know how it is. Genetically troubled. And you can see it in the seedlings sometimes. Sometimes the cross has tiny, tiny seedlings. So small they will not make it. In this case, some of them might eventually grow up. Hopefully. Because Teleflora is great. I like it. I actually like it. The body is cool. The flowers are cool. Might not have the huge kind of potential to have the world-class flower, but it's just such a cool body that it makes it worth it. Okay, so here, I see a springtail, like these tiny little insects that spring around on the soil. At first I thought it was a fungus gnat, but it's a springtail. Springtails are okay. As far as I'm concerned, I don't mind. You will always have living things in your soil. And when you're growing cacti, when you're growing vegetables, there's always something living. You just have to be careful that you don't get any kind of pest, the kind of pest that you don't get rid of again. But I'm not worried about springtails. So apart from that, that's okay. Let me clean this. Cleaning the pencil again. Here's a seedling that is lying on the soil. And I don't like that. It looks like it has problems with the root already. I can see a discoloration at the root. But it's not, the root is still there, you know, and it's not a bad discoloration. I can't 100% tell if it's an infection. So I will try to pot it up again, transplant it into the soil. But this isn't a good sign. Hildewinterer hybrids. Growing along nicely. I'm almost through with the seedlings. Maybe another 10 minutes or so. Oh, by the way, here's that one cactus yesterday. I had to take a cutting. I had to remove an infection at the base, and it was so dehydrated that I was worried it would not root in time. It would not develop roots in time. So I put it in water, and it looks better now. I will give it another week or so, and then I can try to root it slowly. Sometimes you have to always keep in mind when you cut a plant, and it will take months until it has roots again, until that plant is able to take in water again. And in that time, if it's dehydrated, if it dehydrates too much, you might lose it. So every now and then you have to become inventive. Okay. This looks a little bit too wet. I will try to, long term, I will try to let these dry up a little bit. Maybe even taking them out of the container. For now, it's okay, but something about them I don't like. You know, when you have experience, sometimes you pick up subtle little things that where you already know something isn't perfect, and that's the feeling that I have with them here. But I can't really say yet that it's, you know, that I see a fungus gnat. I'm not seeing one. If necessary, I will take these out of the bag, but they are still too small. Yes, pencil. Always, I started, you know, getting rid of the dirt at the tip so I don't spread anything. But I just like to work with a pencil. It's a good thing. Okay, next one. Yeah, these are looking good. I like that. Check it out. You can also see the discoloration a little bit. Yeah, I really try carefully to just put them somewhere, just move them slightly. You can do it with a piece of plastic that you can also disinfect it, clean it, whatever in between, you know. But it just allows you to move them. If you use metal, there's a high risk that you injure the seedling. They're very sensitive in the beginning, and when you move them around, if something happens to the root, then that's often it. So piece of wood can be great. Okay, closing them up again. Like I said, reddish discoloration, but I'm not worried. They don't look dehydrated. Oh, the battery is turning off. I gotta go offline. Thing is turning off now. So thank you for participating. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you, guys.